you all for being here and for all you do for our club and our community. Bob Cowan, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I think Bob is... There's Bob.
Together now.
Great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Bob. Songsters.
Where's the other?
So this week, Rick Stuhlen will be about the Quest, talking about the Quest Science Center and creating a youth climate action program, which should give all of us a very clear vision of our future.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
I was guessing.
We have a very special thought for today, and we're hoping we can recruit more thought for the dayers, but we turned instead to Chat GPT. And actually, Chat GPT has some good content here. So we've got, today is a good reminder that the date itself will come and go, but how we spend it will last. Each of us has the power to turn an ordinary day, we just heard about that, into something memorable through service, encouragement, or simply showing up with integrity. Let's make this one count. Meeting front line, Linda Stanford is our Spur reporter and our Spur publisher. Don Wentz is our photographer. He's been taking a lot of photos today. Ted Michaels has been doing the AV for the past several days and making things work. Upside down, who knows how he does this, but anyway, we're here today and it's working. And Trudy Barnes is our greeter. Next up, even more frontliners. We have back the team of Sergeants Peck and Beck. You guys out there? Please remind me to remember about the the ticket at the end of the meeting. Web magician Kathy Coyle. Kathy, where are you? There you are, Kathy. Kelly Bowers, our public outreach magnificent outreacher, and videographer Tim Berry, who's doing both the new bear outfit with the guitar plus videography. So thank you very much. Next, we have introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. And today, we have a very special Rotarian we would like to introduce. It is my honor to introduce visiting Rotarian Mr. Bandaru Mohan, currently serving as president of Rotary Club of Garden Reach, Rotary District 3291 in Kolkata. Is it Kolkata? Kolkata, India. I'd like to say a few words.
Yeah. Good morning to, I think I will just adjust.
Sure.
I'm not like, I'm only 5'3". Good morning to all of you, dignitaries, Rotarians. I am really so happy to be here. It's a God-sent opportunity, I feel. As of now, so many Rotarians with such a lovely smile on everybody's face. And what a introduction song. I'm very much happy. I don't want to take much time. I'm a Rotarian. I want to be a Rotarian. I'm here to serve my community and my people. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
Please don't go away. We'd like to present this to you as a sign of friendship between our two clubs.
I'll get my clubs of fire flags.
I want to introduce somebody everybody knows. Hold on, we're finishing up.
Which one is it?
There we go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Oh, sure.
Here?
Yeah, do it in front.
There we go. Can't see the other one.
Come on, guys.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Hey. Like this will be much better.
There we go. 35 years ago, I met this man in a Rotary Club. He's been such a good friend. We just seen him come to everything. I thought Rotary was number one in his life. I just discovered something else. His grandchildren. He is heading south. He's skipping Rotary for a number of days to view his grandchildren. Please welcome Bob Tugnutt.
Any other visiting Rotarians?
Are we on visitors yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
This is, I'd like to introduce my daughter, Laura Rusa, who lives in Germany. And so with her two beautiful daughters also.
Welcome.
Good morning. I'd like to introduce my now next door neighbor, Dilpreet Singh. Has helped start up 9 companies so far. He basically a computer scientist years ago, but now he's in management of startup companies. His wife, Mona, is a dentist. He has 3 children in schools, and his son is very active in Quest. So I hope that he's going to find time for us.
And President Pat and fellow Rotarians, I'm introducing a guest from across the room, Maggie Tufts. Maggie is the program manager for the Pedrosi Young Scholars Program at the Pedrosi Foundation, and she's also a volunteer with the READY program, so is interested in becoming possibly a friend of Rotary.
Maggie, that's very good news. Very, very good news. Thank you.
President Pat and fellow Rotarians, it is my great pleasure
I don't want to see you.
to introduce board member for Quest Science Center, and somebody that a lot of people in this room know already because he's very active in the Livermore community and has been for many years, Michael Mosby.
President Pat and fellow Rotarians, it's my pleasure to introduce my wife again, Chandrakala Memula, and she's trying to keep me in track.
Welcome, Chandrakala. I don't know how you do that. Thank you. Next. Announcements. We'll start out with information about Bill and Frank's Memorial Celebration, Bothwell Arts Center in Livermore, Friday, October 17th at 17th is what I've got.
Yeah.
17th at 11 a.m. In lieu of flowers, contributions can be made to the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore and make that attention Rotary Music Scholarships or to the Livermore Amador Symphony. Next, Don Sweeney has a special announcement. It's a proposed meeting schedule straw vote. Initially this is a little confusing, but Don's going to straighten it out.
Okay, so this will be quick, and there will be no time for discussion, although I'm sure that you would like to have discussion. Tomorrow there's a board meeting, and the membership committee is going to make a motion, and I want to inform you of that and get a straw vote to see if you are supportive of that. And you all know members of the board, and you can give feedback and comments to them. So the proposal will be to move to 2 evening meetings at the winery per month. We currently have 1. And so the idea is to have the winery meeting at 5 o'clock on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month. And there's several reasons for that. You can come up with them yourself. So the question here, you can vote 3 different ways. You can support the idea. You can say, well, it's fine with me. I really am fine with it either way. Or third, I think it's a bad idea. So put up your hand if you think it's a good idea. Hey! Put up your hand if you really are happy with it either way. So there's, okay. Anybody, who feels it's really a bad idea?
I do. Reject them. Somebody's got to carry all the audio-visual stuff around.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Well, that passed.
Yeah, very good.
Very.
Of course, the board's going to take this into consideration. So, there we go.
Yeah. I think it got voted on.
Next, Stu Frazier, I'd like you to introduce our wonderful Siki Lee, who traveled to Calgary and back, and is here to share with us some of her experiences in Calgary. Thank you, Stu.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. So, yes. Thank you, Pat. But the Livermore Club, along with the Pleasanton Club, helped sponsor Siki to go to Calgary, yes, to the convention. So Siki's here just to give us a quick overview of what it was like for her.
Hi, I just want to thank Livermore Rotary for sponsoring me to go to this convention. It was a really great experience. So I'll just be talking about my trip and what happened. So for those of you who don't know, every single year Rotary has an international convention where all Rotary clubs from across the whole world can all gather in one place. So it was from the 21st to 25th of June in Calgary, Canada. And basically I went along with other fellow members of Interact District 5170. And the reason why we went is we're one of the largest Interact districts in the world, and not a lot of other Interact districts like us have a similar format where all the Interact clubs have like one very organized district with several areas, and they're all led and they all have district events together. So we went to basically inform people about what we do and how other Interact clubs can start a very similar district and organization to us. So I went along with 3 other interactors and a few chaperones, and we had our own booth. So for around 4 or 3 days, we would work from 9 to 5, basically taking shifts at the booth and basically telling people who came by what we do and some of the events and basically our goals and missions for the year. We were at the House of Friendship where a lot of the booths were there, and I got to meet a lot of different cool people. So on the right there is Captain Rotary, and he's basically a Rotary superhero, and yeah, he was just taking pictures with people. And they have a booth for the End Polio Initiative, and they had just a lot of booths about like what they do and how close they are to ending polio, as well as there's also the Rotary Vietnam Project, if you guys know of, which supports to help against, their mission is to stop trafficking in Vietnam. And I also got to meet a lot of other interactors. So on the center there is interactors from inside Calgary, Canada, as well as on the bottom right, we met interactors from Chicago, Illinois, and there's also interactors we met from Washington. And up there, we actually went to the basically Tri-Valley, I think, the Tri-Valley Social, and that's the Fremont Club with us right there. And right there is, I'm not too sure, but I believe he was from a Rotary club in India. And yeah, and we also met some Rotaractors we knew, and it was just really fun. We got to meet a lot of different people from around the world. And at the actual opening and closing ceremonies, there are a lot of really cool speakers. If you know her, Gina Davis spoke. Yeah, and we sung karaoke. If you guys don't know what Calgary has a very cowboy Midwestern culture, so I got to see a live cowboy performance, which was really interesting, as well as just a lot of other speakers like about climate. They had a puppet show at some point, a lot of different cool things. And outside the convention, we did spend a lot of the day just working 9 to 5 at the booth and at the shifts, as well as just meeting really cool people there. But outside there, we went to a lot of cool places. We went to Banff, which is a really beautiful place. There's the water's really crystal clear, and it honestly looks way better than the picture. And we went to a couple of shopping malls. I tried poutine for the first time. You can see there's a cowboy hat, which just because of their Midwestern culture, that's the Calgary Tower. And I also was able to exchange friendship bracelets with some of the interactors, and one of them had us sign our thumbprints on a little memorable paint thing. But overall, it was just a really fun experience, and I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit, and just say that it was really cool just to meet so many amazing Rotarians from around the world and really understand how important Interact is. Because especially over there, we realized that our Interact club is our Interact district is very unique, the way we're organized and the way we're structured, and it was really great to to meet other interactors and tell them how they can also perhaps start a very similar district structure and work toward a very big goal together. But thank you so much, Livermore Rotary, and here's another picture of the Banff Mountains.
I think we just may have heard from a future District 5170 governor.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Gal, I think you've got some items to share with us.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go fast. Save us some time.
You promised.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over the last year's goals, how we did, and what next year or this year's goals are. And next one. It shows that 24-25, we had a goal of 72,000 for annual fund. We actually exceeded 73,620. Polio Plus also we exceeded our goal. And endowment, I say no goal because are really difficult to predict. So whatever comes, we'll just take that. But actual was 29, that was pretty high. So our club was number 3 actually in the total donations, whereas, number 2 in total donation, number 3 in annual fund, that's a typo. And the significance of this is the annual fund gives us the DDF, we can do the district grant and a global grant. I'll talk more about this next time. Now, what are the goals? And also we had a goal for a 100% Paul Harris Fellow. We didn't make it, we were at 84. And we're going to want to try this year, and maybe need to do a little bit better. It's important to note that those who contributed 1,000 or more in 1 year, there were 43 Rotarians, and I'm targeting 45 this year. We have 32 major donors, mean level 1, level 2, level 3, and AKS. That means minimum 10,000 donation cumulatively. And I am targeting, see if we can increase by 3 more. Bequest Society, we have 5 Rotarians. These are the ones who promised to give $10,000 in future as opposed to endowment outright. And we have 5, and I'm hoping to get them to 8. And Triple Crown are the ones who are Paul Harris Society, major donor, and bequest. And we have 5 of them. I'm hoping to get them to 8. So. Okay, quickly, I'm just going to lay out the challenge we have. So this is a histogram of total TRF contributions. As you can see, we got 28 who have given $25, and 1 less than 100, and so on. And then we got 28 people, major donors, so on. So we need to try to move the graph, move number of people that way. We're going to talk about that more as we go along. I'm going to skip the summary. Thank you.
Okay, Paul, this is the moment we've been waiting for.
Oh, you Thanks, Dowd.
Thanks, Paul.
You gave me 7 minutes, which is about what I've got. So I'll try and keep it under 7 minutes so Rick can say his stuff about Quest. A quick question first to start with. Anybody heard of Live Aid? Band-Aid? Anybody heard of Live 8? Live 8. Anybody watched CNN in the last few weeks about those things? Well, Live Aid, as you know, started off in England with Bob Geldof, and he raised, I think, over $200 or $300 million to help the people who were dying of starvation in Ethiopia. And then Live 8 came along 20 years later, almost exactly, in 2005, where the G8, Geldof went after the G8, the Prime Minister of England, I can't think of his name now. Even Putin was in that group of G8, where he pushed them to all agree to get rid of all the debts in several African, if not all the African countries, and to double the aid which he was giving to them. And Bush, God bless him, George W. Bush, I think that's where he pushed the AIDS thing in Africa. So I just wanted to mention that, because I want to talk about our raising money for Nepal. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Raising money for Nepal to the new project there, which isn't quite so new. At the end of last year, there were terrible floods and landslides, which did a lot of destruction. And so our current project is to raise, I think, God, I have to forget these numbers, I think $52,000, including $30,000 as a global grant, $22,000 to build a school structure. And we're about $5,000 short of raising the $22,000 for the school structure. So I'm hoping you guys are going to dip your hands in a bit more. Many have already given, so thank you. Thank you to all of you who have given for that. A little bit about Nepal. Nepal is one of the poorest countries in the world, and it used to be, it probably still is close, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And so we are fortunate that we have Rotary as a mechanism, as a means to get funds, to get money safely into the hands of the people who need it. And it goes via our relationship with the Rotary Club of Kathmandu Midtown, and we send a check from our foundation. So any checks you make out, please make it out to RFL, the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore, and put Nepal in the memo section, or Nepal Project, or Nepalese Children's Fund, anything with Nepal. That'll make sure that the money you put in will go to the right account, which is Nepal. So the school is in an area, oh, hang on a sec.
It's up there.
Oh, it's up there. There's a graph up there, which I thought I'd put that in. Kathmandu is in the top left, and the area where we're looking at is a province called Panuti. I call it Kavri because they've got different ways of saying where things are. I call it the Kavri project. It's not quite right, but anyway, that's the project I'm mainly talking about. The area which is just a bit below is almost a suburb of Kathmandu called Lalitpur, and we're going to help with a global grant to provide some funds to finish off a school, which we were originally trying to raise money for, but the Japanese, over there they call it the Japanese Embassy, have actually constructed the school, and so our global grant is to help to furnish it and make the school work. As our global grant, we're doing the same global grant will do not to do anything with the structure, but make the school work with furniture and water and clothing and electricity and teaching teachers how to teach a bit. So besides that, I wanted to make this a little bit more exciting by auctioning off some wine. I've got it on the table over there. And this is thanks to Jessica Carroll of JMC Cellars. I think I'll start moving on. Did you move that along?
I moved it, yeah.
Okay, thanks. You move it along.
Okay.
Okay. Jessica Carroll has donated 6 bottles of wine, and I'm out auctioning off today. So, all the money is going to go to the Nepalese project. So, make it out to the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore. It's important. So, the first lot I've got two lots of red wine. 1 lot of white wine, and I'll describe the white wine briefly, and then I'm going to open the bidding on the white wine. I think I've got time, sort of. The white wine is a white wine blend, 2024. Don't ask me what the grapes are, I'm trying to sort it out, I can't. The other one is a Riesling from Tondre Grapefield in Santa Lucia. But if anybody's drunk any of Jessica's wine, they're really excellent wines. So I'd like to start the bidding. I actually have a minimum I put on these. So
for all 6 bottles?
No, this is for the first 2, the white wines. Okay? So I put a minimum bid on those 2 bottles at $75 for the 2. So would anybody like to start the bidding That's $75.
That's a giveaway, thanks.
It is a giveaway, but that's $75. That's not quite good enough. Okay,
He just said 100.
100 over there. What about you?
125.
125, bloody hell, this is good. 125.
130.
I'll ignore you, Morgan. I won't ignore you, I'll take that down as a 150. So.
140.
We've got 150 up there already.
Oh, 160.
160. Anything else? I'm going to close this soon.
200.
200. I'm going to close this soon. Okay, going, gone. What's the name over there? That's 200. Okay, the second one is the second duo is actually a Zinfandel and hang on a second. And a Malbec. Okay, the Zinfandel comes from Splend's Splend's Vineyard. And I've got a minimum bid for those of, hang on.
When you said duo,
Two bottles. Two bottles. A minimum bid for these two bottles, $85. $100. Fantastic. 150? 200. Fantastic. Who? 250. Fantastic. Okay, 250. Going.
300.
Good. 300. Very good. That's it? Anybody got 350 in their pockets? Okay. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, the last duo is the reserve duo. There's a reserve Syrah and a reserve Cabernet Sauvignon. They're both 21, picked in 1921, very old wine. 2021. And I've got a minimum bid there.
200.
That's over the minimum, so thank you, TJ.
250.
250, bloody good. 300, totally excellent, as my kids used to say. Totally excellent, okay? We've got, Rick, I'm going into your time, I'm sure you don't mind too much.
Keep going, Paul, keep going.
Rick, you want to go 350?
Yes.
Yes? Yes.
I'll do it.
350.
In the back, 400 in the back. 400.
400 at the back. Okay, anybody to beat 400? Anybody going to beat 400? Okay, going, bloody gone. Thank you.
Hey, listen, guys. I didn't write notes in that. My mental state isn't the best in the world always. So please, the ones who've got it, come up, and I'll give you the wine. And if you don't have a check right now, it goes up 10% a second.
So we're right at 1 o'clock and 2 minutes. So very briefly, next week's program at Del Valle Winery will be Chris Carter, Executive Director of Livermore Valley Arts. So we look forward to Chris's program. And next, we have Rick Stuhlin. And Don Sweeney is the speaker liaison.
I'll just introduce Rick from here. I've known him for 40 years. He's a very close friend. He was Vice President of the Sandia National Laboratory. In that position, he was the Chief Technical Officer of Sandia National Labs, which is a real big deal. And I know a number of you in the room have worked for Rick in the past. And most importantly, he's one of the co-founders of Quest Science Center. A few months ago, we heard a talk by 3 high school students that blew everybody away. And you wonder who is the person that put that program together, and that's Rick. And so he's going to tell us.
Thank you, Don, for those nice words. Boy, this is amazing. I almost got some wine today. How exciting it is to be here, to see all of you out there. This is just phenomenal. You need a bigger place. So I think clearly the winery is the right decision. I want to talk to you today about starting up a youth climate action program, which we did at Quest. I wasn't quite one of the founders. I came a little bit after the founders. Manya and Alan and Vaughn Drew were clearly in that early stage. But I joined in 2019, just in time for COVID. So we had an interesting first few years trying to sort this all out. It's been extraordinary. It just is heartwarming for me to be able to give back to the community, and particularly our youth, and particularly our high school youth, which I have a soft space for in how I look at our education. I guess just quickly, having worked with these high school students now for 2 or 3 years, I realize how important this 4-year group of students is, and what they are experiencing as they go through their transition into adulthood. It is complicated. The peer pressure, the complicated stuff that's going on politically, the demands from parents and colleges and all of that stuff. And somehow they have time to do some things that they're really interested in, and fortunately one of those is climate. So let me start by showing you this slide. I was going to actually do a little bit of a quiz to see if you could actually...
We can go back. There we go.
Go back.
No one saw it.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask you two sort of quick raise your hand questions. One is just generally, what is this demographic? How do you think about the climate change or the climate change challenges that are out in front of us? Our students right now are surveying people all across the town. They've surveyed students themselves, and they are super interested in what this demographic is thinking in terms of climate change. So I just would like sort of 3 options. 1, I'm not too concerned about it. 2, I'm concerned and I know that humans are a cause of some of these issues. And 3, this is top priority, we got to do something about it. So, okay, 1, 2, or 3. So let me just start with 3. How many of you would say it's top priority, we got to do something about it? Okay, so if I had an applause meter somehow or a hand meter, I can figure that out. Second one is you're concerned, you understand it's human caused. Great. And the first one is not too concerned at this point. Awesome. All right, that's great. We're doing these surveys again with the students, and as part of one of the projects that they led last year, which was to pass a climate literacy resolution, they did a survey of the 2 high schools, and I won't ask you that question, let's just go and I want to show you this. The students, in a matter of 2 weeks, decided they were going to do a survey of high school students to determine how they were thinking about climate change as a way to help inform the superintendent, the school board, and in an effort to pass a climate literacy resolution, which would be a commitment by the school district in Livermore to deepen the education around climate. This was the answer that we got on one of those questions, which was how strongly do you feel that a greater effort should be put into educating students on climate change? Real clear message on what the students were thinking. A lot of them felt they didn't know really what it was about. They wanted to be able to make better choices. There were a bunch of reasons why this chart showed up this way. In 2 weeks, they got all this stuff done. And not only did they get it done, but 2 of the student leaders, one of them went to the principal at Granada, one went to the principal at Livermore High. Roxana's not here today, but she would tell you how that happened. They convinced both principals to put their endorsement on the survey. They got it out in a week. And the results came back at the number is pretty astounding. It's 643 responses, and when I showed that to Roxana, she says, we don't get anything close to that on the surveys that we do with the students. So this was an issue they care about. Armed with this data, 4 students began to meet with the superintendent, Chris Fenchak. They walked into the office, we let them do the talking. They presented the data, and instantly the superintendent said, this is a no-brainer. Let me know what you want. Let's start talking. And we started moving down that path, and a few months later, Chris Van Schack retired. So this is real world stuff. So this is how you learn. The students were pretty bummed about that, but I said, don't worry, this is just one bump in the road. Let's wait till the new superintendent comes in, Tori Gibson. She came in, and we moved the project forward in October 15th, I think it was, last year. They passed the resolution, the whole board passed it, and there was a lot of interesting interactions with individual board members by the students in the meantime. So it's a great example. I wanted to start off with this as an example of authentic, meaningful action to make a different future for students that they care about. And that's what this program really is about, and I'll give you some examples along the way. So quickly, we got started on the climate action by attending an ASTC, that's the Association for Science and Technology Centers. It's a global organization where museums from all over the world get together and work together. They have an annual meeting. I was at that annual meeting virtually because in 2022, not 1922, 2022, we were still, sort of coming out of the pandemic. At that meeting, the Wild Center, does anybody know the Wild Center? Upstate New York. It's a huge and one of the major science centers in the Northeast. The Wild Center put on a workshop on how to put together a youth climate summit. They had been doing it for 10 years. They had a playbook. You can see it down there, Youth Climate Summit Toolkit. Vaughn Dragoo and I attended that. Mine, I don't remember if you were in that session or not. But we came back and said, hey, how hard can this be? There's already a roadmap for us. We can do this. And so we gathered our friends, Ann Brown from Tri-Valley Air Quality Climate Alliance, the City of Livermore, LARPD, the district, all sort of came together and said, will you help us move this forward? And everybody said yes. And then the hard work began. So let's go to the next slide. We started from ground zero. There was nothing, no clubs to really plug into. We had to find students, we had to generate a program, and we brought together a group of students to actually do that so that we weren't doing it, they were doing it. This is the flyer that we put out in 2023 on the left. And we even came up with the help of an artist, sort of a logo, which was Bend the Curve. That refers to the Keeling curve of CO2 increasing with time. And if any of you have phones, that QR code, if you look at that QR code right now, you will find out what the CO2 concentration is right now, today. In fact, you'll see it for the last 4 days. So if anybody gets that on your phone, I'd like to see what you see. You should go to a NOAA website, which is, I'm not sure whether or not you can get to it any other way by that, other than that QR code. But if you see a number, let me know what you got. Scroll down a little bit. In September 2023, it was 419 parts per million. There you go. You get an A for social media or web. 425. So today it's 425. It's gone up 6 ppm in 2 years, 3 ppm per year. That's huge. That's huge. So in another 10 years, that's going to be up another 30 ppm, probably higher than that because the curve is actually accelerating. This is the kind of information that students are not aware of. They don't know what a Keeling curve is. They don't know a whole lot about greenhouse gases, how that all works. Our job is to help nurture them and support them along the way and see and help them understand what they can do. All right, so this was the summit. We actually, September 9th, I remember the day well. It was stressful. The mayor was there. Paul, I don't remember if you were there or not, but a number of the city officials were there. We had almost 200 attendees, 10 high schools from around the region, which was just spectacular. And in putting this on, Vaughn and I were the principal ones from Quest Science Center. We've created 10 teams. There was a logistics team, there was a food team, there was a speaker team, all of that stuff. A structure that the students now saw, hey, this is how you put something on. So they learned that. But they had to make the calls. They had to invite people to come. They had to invite, we had exhibitors around the hall. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, let me talk to this, just a second. We had exhibitors around the hall, but they did all the work to really get us to this point. And you can see in the front row,
What the heck was that?
Those two are the ones that you heard from earlier this year, Shrishman Krishna and Tharak Shriram. And that's Timothy Burrows speaking. He's the head of Alameda Stop Waste. We had a researcher from Lawrence Livermore speak, and we had Mayor Marchand speak. Students had to actually interact with each one of these individuals, personally invite them, all the skills of email writing, follow-ups, all of those things were things that they learned and got confidence on as they did this. All right, so the next one. So this is pretty interesting. As we went through this process, one of my goals was to have them think more deeply about why they were actually doing this. Students will sign up for stuff that they think is they should do it, but then you need to sort of let them pause and ask the question, why are you doing this? Let's talk about this. Why are you doing this? And it took us a number of meetings, some of them in this very room, where we sort of sat around and talked about what was on their mind, what were they bothered about. There was a significant issue around mental illness and schools and depression amongst the students. Significant. That was a big driver for the climate literacy resolution and is articulated in the resolution itself. So these three goals came out of those conversations. This isn't stuff that I made up, or Vaughn made up, or Quest made up. This is their stuff. It took a while for us to sort of gather it into these three bins, but it has held true the whole time since those first meetings 2 years ago. So the recent students, we talk about this. So the first one is just understand climate change, what's going on, just so you have the basis for conversations and understanding. The second one is, don't just talk about it, how can we do something? Students want to take action. And oftentimes action is for them just advocacy, which is okay, but we wanted to move them beyond advocacy to actually changing their behaviors and others' behaviors to reduce emissions or to address adaptation issues, one of those being heat. So we talk a lot about meaningful action. How do you know it's meaningful? What does that mean to you? Right? And then the third one, super important, these students didn't have other students to talk to about this. By the time we were done with this, our Tracy students were best friends with the Livermore students, and actually two of the boys drove down to a concert in LA together. One from Tracy, one from Livermore. And they drove all the way back in time for the meeting, Paul, that was in your office when they presented the results for the heat mapping. They drove all the way back just for that, and they made sure they were there. That's the kind of community that's getting created by what we've created. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is the early group that was putting together the Youth Climate Summit. You can see some of our friends there, Vaughn on the left, Ann Brown in the center, me on the right, and then a variety of the core team. We had, when it was all said and done, something like 40 students, and you can see already they're getting excited about it. The next one, please. This is another one of our planning meetings. Again, you can see this is the room that we did a lot of that planning in, and would sit down for an hour and a half or so and talk through what's going to happen at different parts of the program. This is the layout for the event. Exhibitors are shown there around the edge, and we had a number of very nice exhibits that the students could interact with and learn from. Next one. We had, this was great. So we did a lunch. So first of all, I said to the students, what time do you want to start this thing? They said, well, it can't start before 10. It's going to be on the weekend, but we don't get up that early. So basically, let's make it 10 to 3. I said, that's fine, that's cool, let's do that. And that means we're going to do lunch. Okay, let's write a grant for the lunch. So we wrote a grant, a TVNPA funded the grant for $2,500 to allow us to bring in 2 master chefs, one from India and one from Spain, that cooked climate-friendly food. And then we added to that Spanish menu, no meat, all vegetarian, and this was the team that did the Hispanic menu. The food was probably the best part about the whole thing. It was just spectacular. And it's something they remember, and it was also taking action. I don't know how many of you realize what the carbon footprint is of our diets. And so it is an issue to pay attention to what we're eating and understand the impact of our behavior. In fact, I can't remember the exact number, but the whole agricultural food sector contributes 25–30% to the emissions in many different ways. And so paying attention to food waste, don't buy too much food. Make sure the waste goes into the right place. The students are all learning about that. Right? Okay, so that's the team at the end. Youth for all lined up outside. We had t-shirts for everybody. About a week before we got to this point, the students said, wait. This is not the end. We can't let this stop. We've got to now actually do something. Because at this point, it was just putting on a summit. It really wasn't doing any particular projects. So the event ended. The Diablo magazine got wind of this. They came down into a story that was just a fabulous story. And in that story, Tharak was quoted, it completely surpassed our expectations, says Sri Ram, a junior at Livermore High School. It was such a huge success, we thought, why stop now? So that phrase, why stop now, became viral, went viral within the student group. And they said, yeah, we got to do something. And so at that point, I said, look, we got to pause this for a month or so, let this simmer, and then we'll figure out what to do. After that, they came back and had 10 projects that they had articulated as potential areas to work in. From waste audits to heat mapping, which you saw, to the climate literacy actions, to a carbon garden, to tree planting and that kind of thing. So let's go to the next one. So we went to this next phase, which was now not just a summit, but let's create a program. And because we had students from around the Tri-Valley, it became the Tri-Valley Youth Climate Action Program, not the Livermore program. And again, it was sort of this three-part focus, is focus on this action, make it authentic, and I'll say a few things about that in a second, and connect it to the community. So the authentic part of this is where it is really do something that's real. Talk to adults, talk to the city, talk to the school district. Don't just talk to the students. Find out from the administrators, what do you need? And that's all hard to do, as a high school student, particularly if you're a freshman. But this is what we put them up to, and I'll tell you, you give them a challenge, they will rise to that challenge. They don't all do it perfectly, and oftentimes I would get something, an email that would say, hey Rick, I'm thinking about sending this to so-and-so, what do you think? And I would say, well, let's think about how you phrase this. There's some grammar issues there. Subject and object pronouns are difficult for this demographic, the students. If there are any English teachers out there, I'm married to one. I hear about this all the time. But this authentic engagement really has a resonance. The heat mapping project is a good example. So we took on mapping the city's heat around the city during the summertime using sensors that we designed and built. We originally had we applied for a grant from NOAA, did not get it. So Don Sweeney and I said, how hard can this be? And so Don helped design our first sensors, and then you saw those results. And it's in this time that we created a mentor community. So we now have about 20 adult mentors that interact with the students on these various projects. And that component is completely unique from anything I've seen in the Bay Area. There are other youth groups that they don't have the mentors there to bounce ideas off of, to learn from, to get coaching from. It's people like you in this room that make that possible. And we've done some pretty cool things. So next slide. We're almost done here. So the end of the year is present all of your stuff at an event, so that forces them to gather all of the information that they've developed on their projects and the work that they've done, put a poster together, and we highlight that at the Tri-Valley Innovation Fair in Alameda County Fairgrounds. Have any of you seen that fair and been to some of those posters? They're pretty great. So this is the next cohort. This was the 2024-25 cohort, expanded up to 54 students. This is a group that we've just finished with. And you can see the mentors down here. I'm missing a few. Maggie's on our list as well, Maggie Tufts, Christy Wong, works with the students as well. All of these people are generally retirees from the labs or significant community organizations that are giving back to the youth. And this notion here, intergenerational support, is a big deal. At this Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action Summit, I was asking the students, well, where do you get all of your help and so forth? No mentors at all. They do it themselves, but it's done in a much more shallow way, and they don't learn like they can learn here through interacting with the community. All right, so next one, we're almost done. This was, again, another example of how the impact was. After they passed the literacy resolution, within a week, I was at home, I got this phone call at 10 in the morning. It was Shrish. Shrish says, Rick, I just got called to the principal's office. He says, but it's okay. He said, ABC News is coming, and they want to do a story on the resolution. He says, what are our talking points? I said, well, I'll be there in a few minutes. So Vaughn and I showed up. ABC News was there. There was a 1-minute clip on the evening news showcasing these two boys talking about the climate literacy resolution. They had, by this point, knew how to do talking points because we drilled that into them. They did a spectacular job. But this is, again, this is sort of the authentic deal. When you do something, you have to all of a sudden start talking to the community and a TV producer. It can get scary, but their performance was just stellar. All right. And this, I'm just going to show you this one, and then I'm going to wrap up here. The students showed you some of the heat mapping results earlier this year. And one of the things that we had on our agenda was, can we actually see a cooling island? Not just heat islands, but can we see parks and the effects of parks and start to quantify that for the city? About 3 weeks ago, we went out and did this run. All of those tracks are cars moving around with temperature sensors on them. At the end of the run, they all got out of their cars and walked across Mason Park. And you can see immediately this cooling island right in the middle. This is the impact of parks. Parks matter, trees matter. This is the first time I think I've ever seen any heat mapping study that actually has looked at areas off-road and not suffered some of the road bias. Anyway, that's pretty cool. So that's going to be actually shown in a couple of weeks. Okay, final slide. Thank you, Rotary. You have made some really fantastic things possible for these students. And the recent grant that we've gotten from Pat and the club to help the next group of students go to the ASTC meeting, which is going to be in San Francisco, September 6th. We are going to have 15 students there presenting their work to the global community. They will have directors of science museums from Germany, from Singapore, from all over the world that will come and talk to them about this work. It's just spectacular. And these are the pictures that were from the Chicago meeting last year. It just shows you the sort of what the venue is like. And San Francisco will be at, what is it, the big? Moscone Center, yes. Yeah. Thank you. So, I want to leave some time for questions, but I will tell you, 2 weeks ago I went down to this Silicon Valley conference with Shrish, and he paneled. He was invited by somebody else, it wasn't me. He now is known in the Bay Area for his work. And he got up there and he said the following. He says, you know, you'll hear a lot about AI and robotics and climate and all that other stuff, but I just want you to know something. Don't be depressed. He said, you are sitting on a gold mine. Climate doesn't stop for politics. Climate doesn't stop for administrations. Climate doesn't stop for economic conditions. Climate is going to continue to get worse, and it's going to get to a point, this is Shrish speaking, it's going to get to a point where there is simply going to be tons of resources thrown at this problem. Humans need to survive. He is so confident about that, and he's right. So you are sitting on a gold mine. So, and he finished this, he got a standing ovation. There were 500 people there. Wow. The thinking that these students are doing about the future is humbling to me. It's gratifying to me, it gives me energy, and I think you all should be proud of your support of this group. I will also say, you know, how do we make this, how do we continue this? And I would say that everybody in this room is well positioned to contribute to this. You are all mentors. in small ways, if you're in small businesses, if you're in the medical field, there are ways to connect to this group of individuals and provide some insights that will continue to inspire them and move them forward. So, yeah, talk to us if you want to get involved a little bit. It can be a little bit or a lot. There's no business that is not going to be touched by climate change. The medical industry is changing. Stanford Healthcare has just taken out some gases that they use in their operating rooms because they're not climate friendly. They're changing their packaging, and they're changing their food in the hospital to be locally sourced. So lots is happening. Let me stop there. Happy to take any questions, and I apologize, I went probably a little bit too long, but any questions you've got, I'm happy to.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm wondering how the students are feeling about the current environment where agencies that deal with climate change and weather and all those things are being defunded or canceled.
Yeah. I think it's a mixed bag. There are some that are concerned about it. They don't know quite what to make of it. There are others that say, hey, we're just going to continue on working. This is almost like we're going to work harder now. It is discouraging to see that much of the information has been taken down. NOAA's been taken down, NASA's been taken down. The Trump administration is eliminating Mauna Loa monitoring station in Hawaii. So we'll have a gap in data. You cannot erase what's happening. It will come back. But it is a little bit discouraging that we are going to have a hard time getting the data that we want. But we'll continue.
So Rick, a couple of your top students are graduating, going on to college. Tell us about keeping the next generation of high school students involved. And you've got to keep churning through those students.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we went through we have another cohort coming on board in September. We start with the Climate Academy, and we have 38 students this time. 54 was a little bit many, but we've done a selection process trying to make this as diverse as possible. And we have a pretty good number of students across the three cities, Pleasanton, Tracy, and Livermore, which is great to see. It does take effort, and any encouragement that you all can give to some of those students who don't see themselves in this kind of thing, please do so, because everybody is welcome to this effort. The three students that I think Don mentioned, Trish is going to Stanford, Tharak is UC San Diego, Kenny is going to UC Berkeley, computer science, AI, and environment. They're combining, think of what you can do in that sort of sphere. And we have to change their lives, there's no question.
One last question.
I know it's not the subject of this talk, but it would be such a great advantage to have the focal point of the Quest Science Center, and I'm wondering where is that in the scheme of things? The Science Center that was to come up downtown.
Yeah, I'm going to let Manya answer that question. Thank you for being here, Manya.
I always say we each have a role to play. So thank you for that question. We are actively regrouping about the Permanent Science Center. I know that for a lot of us, it feels overdue with the pandemic. In the meantime, the people that we're talking to are giving us incredibly positive feedback about the value of having such a science center here. And in fact, what has been accomplished in the meantime is really giving people an understanding of what's possible. It turns out this year will be the third year in a row where we'll have 20,000 people per year that have come to our activities. And we didn't do that on purpose. We just, a couple of years ago, we added up the numbers at the end of the year and realized it was over 20,000. So I think we've used the time wisely, is what I'll say. So thank you very much for that, and you'll hear more. Stay tuned.
just 1 second. So, let's see. Beck and Peck, is there a number that we need to take a look at?
Okay, just a couple of real quick things.
I'm just off for a second here. Should do this first. So remember, next week's meeting is going to be at Delville Winery, of course, with Chris Carter, Executive Director of
Livermore Valley Arts.
Livermore Valley Arts. Thank you, Linda. Okay, next, Beck.
Okay, I put a little poster on the board, on the table here today to tell you what the pot was, right? Who remembers that number? 166. Well, thanks to all of our gamblers in the room, it is now 223. I'm going to draw the ticket that may win $223.
Bear with us.
A chance to win.
Chance to win.
Okay, here we go. Last 4 digits. 9822.